What's going on YouTube? I'm Alex and today I'm taking a look at the Huawei P8 Lite. This phone has a 5-inch 720p screen, a metal frame and plastic on the back. The phone looks more expensive than what it is. Inside we have an octa-core processor, 2GB of RAM and 16GB of internal storage. Aside from that, the phone can also take SD cards. The 5-inch screen, even though it only has a 720p resolution, has very nice and vibrant colors, great viewing angles, and it gets bright enough to be seen in bright daylight. The back of the phone is made of plastic and it does feel a bit cheap. On the left corner of it we have a dual flash and 13 megapixel camera with an f2.0. The camera isn't bad for this price range. At the bottom of the phone we have the speaker, the microphone and the charging port. Only one of those is a speaker. On top of the phone there is a 3.5mm audio jack and a secondary microphone. On the right hand side there is the SIM card tray slot, the SD card tray, the power button and the volume buttons. They're all made out of metal and they give the phone a premium look. On the front we also have a notification light that can change in any color. Overall, for a phone that costs under $200, the P8 Lite looks very good. But let's take a closer look at it. The first thing you're gonna notice about this phone is the UI. Everything is so nice and smooth and polished. I mean, it does look like they put a lot of work into this phone. I wish Samsung and LG and a whole bunch of other manufacturers would do this. First of all, the launcher here doesn't have an app drawer, so all the apps are gonna be onto your home screens, so wherever you put them. If we go into the settings app, it's quite simple. At about phone here we can see the software, which is 4.4.4, the available RAM and other stuff like that. At storage here, so I'm just gonna go to storage. Out of the 16 gigs that are available, we actually have about 12 free. Now I have a whole bunch of apps pre-installed. One thing that I really liked, it's the navigation bar. So you can basically change the buttons at the bottom however you want. So if you want to put this one, you're gonna add that one. So this is a very helpful feature to have. We also have a motion control. I haven't actually used this. I find this kind of useless. If we go at display here and at brightness, we're gonna see that the phone does have auto brightness. So you can select that or you can change that manually. We can also turn off the LED light if we want to. Unfortunately, this phone does not have access to the 5 GHz Wi-Fi network, so you can only connect to a 2.4 GHz network. The battery will make it through an entire day. I had the phone charging the entire night, so it's only been off the charger for like 2 hours, but in those 2 hours the screen was on for almost 45 minutes, so the phone will make it through an entire day on one battery charge. Back to the main launcher here, I guess it doesn't have that many options. You can choose wallpapers, widgets, but I would still prefer something like Nova Launcher instead of this. On the Antutu benchmark, the phone gets a score of about 30,000. That's a pretty decent score for such a cheap device. And here we can see some information about the phone, like the processor, the RAM and stuff like that. On the Geekbench 3 we get a multi-core score of 2451 and a single core of 657. And here's some more information about the device, like the Android version, which is 4.4.4, the processor and the RAM. The root checker app will show us if this phone has root access. So of course, like most phones on the market, this phone does not have root access. The multi-touch tester will show us that the screen can be touched in 10 places in the same time and it will register. This is more than most phones on the market for this price range. The sensor test will show us what sensors are available on this phone, and there are quite a few, as you can see. And all of them actually work, which is really good. I've seen lots of Chinese phones that have fake sensors. So this phone, for this price with all these sensors, this is a really good phone. Next I want to show you the GPS test. I'm just gonna make sure that the GPS test is not running in the background. So I'm gonna turn on the GPS tester and it will take the phone only a couple of seconds to connect the satellites. That was extremely fast and really accurate as well. This phone also has 4G connectivity, and that's the speed that I was able to get on 4G and on Wi-Fi. So on Wi-Fi it basically maximized my connection. So really good speeds for this phone. Unfortunately this phone does not support OTG, so that is unfortunate, but it is what it is. If you'd have had OTG as well, it would have been like the most perfect phone ever for under $200. I have Chrome open at the moment. I'm just gonna open this website to open a random article. So let's choose this article here. We'll give it a second or so till it loads. And scrolling seems to be done okay once the article loads. Let's see how about zooming in and out. So not as smooth as you'd expect, but after the page loads completely, it seems to go quite well. I have the YouTube app open, and on this occasion we're gonna see how loud the speaker gets, and we're gonna check out the maximum resolution. So let's start with the speaker. Unfortunately, it is quite easy to cover the speaker with one finger. But the speaker does get quite loud. Now let's check out the maximum resolution, which I believe it's gonna be 720p, and that was correct. So the maximum resolution on YouTube it's 720p. And if you look at this video, it goes extremely smooth and the colors are just beautiful on the screen. Now let's take a look at the camera. I'm actually impressed with the camera on this phone. So this is the video mode. So the maximum quality you're gonna be able to get for the camera, it's 1080p, which is really good and quite appropriate in my opinion. We have a couple of options here. If you want to GPS tag the video and so on, you can select where you'd like to save the video. If I move this to photo, again we're gonna have a couple of different options. Here you can change the size of the picture, however you want to take the picture, and you do have a couple of options here that you can use. You can adjust the ISO, the white balance, and stuff like that. So I am quite happy with the camera on this phone. I mean, it focuses quite fast in bright conditions, and the pictures have a lot of detail in them. So the rear camera, it's doing really good, and for this much money, how much this phone costs, it is really good. If I turn the camera around, so I'm gonna see myself and the camera, I'm gonna take a picture of this. This is the bad part of this. The front-facing camera doesn't take the brightest pictures out there. That is unfortunate, but let's keep in mind the phone costs only like $200. Overall, I think this is an excellent phone. I mean, it does look extremely good. It's not big. Well, the bezels here at the bottom are not the smallest. However, for this much money, this phone looks and works excellent. I'm really happy with this phone, and I would definitely recommend this phone to anyone. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.